Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster, and I tell you what, it is getting very cold out here in the workshop now, hence being all bundled up and what have you. And what I wanted to do today was just do another quick video in my carving tips series. And what I really want to talk about is carving small items from larger pieces of stock. So I'll give you an example. This is just a piece of birch that I had lying around. It was an offcut. It sort of split down very wonky. Wasn't a great deal of use to me. I could probably make a spoon or something out of it. But what I really want to make today is a tool handle. Now, one of my very first videos on this channel was making handles for a draw knife that I'd recently purchased. And what I did was I cut off roughly the size of the handle and then used my knife just to whittle that down. And one thing I found very quickly, because it was the first time I'd done something like that, was that because I'd made the material just the right size, it was very difficult to get a hold on it and to try and sort of manipulate it whilst keeping a good grip on it. Now, over time, and I've made quite a few handles since then, what I've found the easiest way to do is to take a larger piece of stock like this. Now, this vise is really useful, but you don't need to have a vise for it. What you can do, if you're doing it with an axe or a knife or something, you can just keep a hold of this kind of shorter end or the narrower end here and just carve away with your knife or carve away with your axe, and you've still got something to hold to. And that's really kind of the purpose of this video, is if you're making something that's fairly small, make sure you have enough material to get a good grip on it so you can manipulate it and move it without trying to sort of really choke up with your fingers, and your fingers will generally get in the way, or you just won't have enough material to hold. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clamp this down into my vise just because I have it and it's easier for me, and I'll show you exactly what it is that I mean. Right then guys, so it's just got very windy out all of a sudden, so I've shut the workshop door and I'm giving a sort of a first try to my my little LED lighting system, which hopefully means that you're going to be able to pick up okay on the camera to see what I'm doing. Now this is clamped into the vise. It's got a little offcut under here just to give it a little bit of support. And because I've got the whole length of this wood to work with, I'm just going to take my little more a push knife, which I tend to use more as a draw knife more than anything else. And what that's going to allow me to do is shape this end here down to roughly where I want it to be, without having to mess around and try and keep a hold on it or keep it steady. And that's really the importance, or the point I'm trying to make here, is that by leaving this piece of wood the whole length, rather than sort of just cutting down this section maybe here, sort of that much, which is what I want, it will just give me more flexibility. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes shaping this down. I may fast forward through the footage. I'm going to have to move it around in the vise a few times, but I'm just going to spend a little bit of time doing this, and we'll see how well we get on. So there we go guys, that's probably taken me about 15 minutes. Probably would have taken a little bit less if I'd hewn it down with the axe first, but I kind of wanted to prove the theory more than anything else. So we've now got a sort of fairly sort of rounded, slightly elliptical piece on the end here. Still got this kind of original stock piece at the back here, and the reason I wanted to show you this is that now that I've kind of got it down roughly with the size I want it to be, I now just want to finish things off with a knife. So what I can do, I can take a hold of this piece of stock sort of anywhere from here backwards really. I can lock my arm into my side nice and solid. I can take my knife and I can literally just start paring this down very gently to get it sort of to the right shape and size that I want. Now if I'd only had, say, this much of the material left, I would really be struggling to try and hold this sort of, you know, my thumb, as you hopefully you can see here, is kind of getting in the way of the back of my blade, and I'd really struggle to try and do this sort of safely and easily. So what I'm going to do is literally hold it like this, nice good grip on this waste material at the back, and just carve away. And I'm just going to spend a few minutes doing this. I'll skip forward the footage for you guys just so you're not too bored, and I'll come back when it's slightly more where I want it to be. So there we go, guys. Nice, smooth, oval shape cross section, nice and smooth on the handle. You know, still got a few little tool marks in it, which is fine because we're going to sand this in a moment anyway. But that's, you know, trying to do that with something that's maybe only this size is much more difficult than having this nice piece of stock material here just to sort of work along this. So let me move the camera around, we'll do a quick bit of sanding, and then we'll cut this off and we'll hopefully have our final handle. Okay guys, so we're down to the last stretch, and what I've got here is just some strips of sandpaper. I've got three types. I've got an 80 grit, a 180 grit and a 240 grit. Now this stuff, if you can get hold of it, it's brilliant. This is fabric backed sandpaper. Very strong, same kind of thing that sandpaper belts for sanding machines come in, and it's really strong and really durable. And one of the things I really like this for is for sort of rounded things like this. So basically you'll just get your sandpaper and do this. Now again, back to the purpose of this video, if I just had a very small section like this, I really wouldn't be able to do much with it. I'd have to hold it in my hand, I'd be rubbing up and down on it, sort of, you know, maybe like this, which is not, you know, the end of the world, but doing it this way is just much easier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to very quickly just run through these grits, and then we'll come to cutting this off and we'll look at the finished product. So there we go guys, lovely and smooth. I'll give you a close-up of that in a minute. But the other thing, just while I was doing this, that I remembered I wanted to say was that the other benefit of having this piece of stock left at the end, especially if you're using something like a vise, I mean alternatively what you could also do if you're just using a carving stump like I am, you could drill a hole in this, put a screw through it and actually screw it directly to your carving bench as well. So you don't even have to go out and buy a vise for something like this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to very quickly chop this off just while we're doing this. So I think I'll leave a little bit of excess just to give me a little bit to play with. And there we go. I'm not sure if you can see that particularly well on the camera. What I might do is just move this round and I'll open up the workshop door just so you can see this a bit better. Right then guys, so we're finished. This is the final product. Hopefully you can get a fairly good view of that on the camera there. I've just spent a couple of minutes just to chamfer down these edges on the end here and give them a quick sand down so they're nice and smooth. And for those of you that are interested, this is actually going to be a handle for a small carving knife that I recently picked up. This will be the end, so the knife will slot into here. I'll drill a couple of holes and sort of wedge it in, maybe use a bit of epoxy. And I quite like this kind of flared end because it gives you a nice grip when you're using the knife and you can get a lot of good control with it quite easily. But for what's probably taken about half an hour, you know, we've got a really nice piece of material here. All I need to do is give this a couple of coats of boiled linseed and I'll be ready to go. But you know, for the purpose of this video, you know, what I was really trying to get at is that basically if I tried to make this with a piece of material only this size, it probably would have taken me an hour or more. With the setup I've got here, and even if I didn't have the vise, you know, I could have screwed this material down into the end here. You know, I don't have to worry about damaging this because at the end of the day, it's an offcut. You know, you've got some marks from the jaws of the vise on here, and it really doesn't matter because, you know, although I may end up using this piece of material again for something else, you know, it's no great loss if I did damage it. So I hope it was useful, guys, give you something to think about. You know, as I say, making something small like this, whether it's a tool handle, whether it's a small carving, whatever it is you're making, my big tip for the day will be use a larger piece of material than you need, leave some wastage on the end so you can clamp it down into something, or you've got something even just to hold on to while you're using your knife. And I think you'll, you know, same as me, you'll find that it makes everything much easier and a lot more controllable. So anyway guys, comments and questions in the box below, hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.